So, just to be maybe a little bit modest, I have never really had any kind of massively successful time with members of the opposite sex. I mean, I've had girlfriends in the past. None have lasted more than a few months. I've never really sort of felt, even when I'm in a relationship, this is going to last. Really, it's never really felt like anything more than just a bit of fun. Just for the hell of it, just for a few weeks. Just to have something going on. I've never really sort of felt like I've been able to get anywhere, romantically speaking, with members of the opposite sex. Not that I have any kind of massive desire or anything. I am fairly happy on my own and everything. So I'm not trying to, come out and have some like depressing kind of moan about, how shitty my life is or anything like that. At the same time, I've had a lot of good relationships, non-romantically speaking, with members of the opposite sex. I've had a lot of female friends in my life. I've got along really well with a lot of them. And, some of them actually I've managed to sort of help out in ways of setting them up with other guys. I kind of sort of feel like that bit in The Big Bang Theory, where Leonard, I think, helps Penny out with a guy that she's really pissed off at, and afterwards Leonard says, I guess I am her gay friend. It sort of got me thinking, there's one particular woman I know at the moment who I get along really well with. She laughs a lot more than I would have anticipated at some of the jokes I make. We talk endlessly whenever we see each other about everything. We seem to have a lot in common. It's just never clicked, romantically speaking. There's never been any kind of question. I've never discussed it with her or anything, but it's not something that I've ever really sort of considered as a possibility. The women I have had relationships with, I've sort of got together sort of as soon as I've met them. Then just after a few months, we sort of find it either does or doesn't sort of feel right or anything. I've never had a relationship where I've sort of asked them out after I've got to know them for a little bit. I sort of feel like you just sort of know mutually, I think, that sort of thing. Whether or not it's going to work. And with this woman, I just don't feel that. And I think it's been suggested to her by a few guys that I know who also know her. They've sort of discussed it with her, and I've kind of discussed it with them a little bit. And I know it just sort of seems like a sort of unsaid thing. We sort of both kind of privately agree. It just wouldn't work romantically. I know it's kind of hard to describe. It's just not something that really sort of clicks naturally. But just the fact that this kind of relationship has been going on between the two of us, and it's sort of quite obviously not going to amount to anything more than just friendship, which I'm fine with, by the way. I'm not depressed about it or anything and thinking, I'm never going to find someone or anything like that. It's perfectly fine with me. I'm really happy to have her in my life, and I hope we're going to be friends for a number of years, certainly. It's just sort of interesting. It sort of got me thinking, because you ever think about the romances you see in movies? It seems almost like it's a requirement by sort of Hollywood screenwriting 101 that if two members of the opposite sex that aren't related spend any kind of decent amount of time together, they're required almost to fall in love eventually. Just by spending a lot of time together, bonding over jokes and adventures and amazing experiences or anything. It's never anything really sort of tender or something that really only a romantic couple could do together. It's always just the kinds of things friends do. It's always just hanging out together, sharing jokes, having a laugh, and having sort of memorable experiences together. And that apparently always makes couples in movies fall in love. And I just sort of wonder, does that ever happen in real life? Does the romance you always see in every single movie, does that ever actually happen in real life? It's so sort of weird to me that it happens constantly in movies. There's countless movies where that kind of things happen. But to my knowledge, I've never been aware of that happening ever in real life. Just a man and a woman becoming good friends and that blossoming into a romance. I've just never known that to happen in reality. It's just sort of normally, when you get into a romance or a relationship with someone, it pretty much always just sort of clicks, as soon as you meet them. There's just something there that isn't there when, the two of you are just friends. Like I said, I've never had that kind of relationship as of yet, where I've known them for a while and then I've asked them out. That's the other thing, actually, that I find kind of interesting. A lot of the time in movies, when they do start going out, it's either kind of a mutual thing between the two of them, which does happen in real life. I've been aware of it a few times. But also, a lot of the time, it's the woman that actually makes the first move. There's either that, that whole cliched thing of she just suddenly kisses him, or I guess in reality it would sort of be takes him up to her room, and they do it. But I guess, in a lot of romantic comedies and everything, they have to be PG-13, don't they? So they can't do that. There's pretty much an unwritten rule that it always has to be the guy that asks the woman out. This was actually something that my sister had to inform me of when I was thinking about asking somebody out. She said, "Oh, well, you have to ask her out. It's just sort of an unwritten rule. It's just the done thing. The guy has to ask the girl out." And it's so weird that doesn't actually happen that often in films. It's pretty much always the woman that asks the guy out. Well, not so much asks them out, but just sort of kisses them or, confesses love or whatever the hell it is. You don't often see them ask each other out. It's always, "I love you." Again, that never happens in real life. You would never confess your love after only knowing someone for a couple of weeks, and certainly not before you'd actually started going out with them. It's another thing you always see in movies. They always confess their love before they've even started a relationship. But yeah, I'm just kind of interested if you guys have had any kind of experiences where you've just known a woman, or, if there's any women watching this, if you've known a guy for just a few weeks, you've got along with them like, friends often do, just having a laugh, hanging out together, having a few nice experiences with them. And then you've started a relationship. Has that ever actually happened? Because I've never known that to happen. When people start relationships, it's pretty much always been a case of it's clicked like right away. Maybe they haven't. A lot of the time I've known people not to start going out straight away, but it's been a kind of an obvious thing. As soon as they meet, there's something going on there. There's something going to happen. I'm interested if you guys can sort of tell me, does the romance you see in films, does that ever happen in real life? Like, does it have any basis in reality, or is it entirely Hollywood? Because it's so weird how you see it in pretty much every romantic film. There has to be some sort of basis in reality, surely. Just interested if you guys can enlighten me on that at all, because it's always something that's kind of puzzled me. Okay, see ya.